I am the guy people forget the second they're done needing him. Or at least, I used to be. My name is Elise Harper. I'm 30 now. But this started a year ago, on my 29th birthday, a Thursday, cold outside, overcast skies, the kind of day where even the sun doesn't feel like showing up. Fitting. I didn't want anything special, I never did. Just dinner with family. Mom made her usual lasagna. My brother Cole rolled in late, smelling like the inside of a bar and holding a bottle of wine he definitely didn't pay for. My sister Dana brought her twin boys and then ignored them while they tore through the house like sugar, high raccoons. And my dad, well, he was exactly who he's always been. Sharp-tongued, stone-faced, and always 2 drinks deep before anyone else finishes one. I had paid for the food. Paid the mortgage that month, too. Quietly, like always. They didn't know I was watching. Really watching, not just going through the motions. I saw how no one asked how I was. Not once. Not even a, how's work? Ely? Just Dana bragging about her boss's promotion. Cole complaining about the bartender who cut him off. Dad grilling me on why I was still single, then laughing like it was original. I laughed too, because that's what I was supposed to do. Be dependable. Be unbothered. Be the good son. But then came the cake, store-bought chocolate. I didn't care. They sang happy birthday, off-key, rushed, forced. Then Dad raised his glass. To Ali, he said, smirking. Might he never disappear, or we'd have no one left to fix our messes. Everyone chuckled. My mother gave a tight smile. Dana sipped her wine. Cole didn't even pretend to hide his grin. Then my father added it, the line. If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would miss you. The words didn't hit like a slap. They hit like a scalpel, clean, sharp, and so precise that for a second, I didn't even bleed. No one flinched. No one gasped. Cole laughed. Dana didn't even look up my mom. She just nodded like it was a truth too familiar to question. I looked around that table and saw it for the first time I didn't belong there. Not really. I was furniture. Function a wallet with a pulse. So I excused myself, told them I had an early call the next day, walked out the door and into the cold night, left the cake untouched. I sat in my car for 2 hours. No music, no crying, just silence. That kind of silence, it's not empty, it's full of every swallowed feeling, every brushed off insult. Every time I showed up when no one else did. And still I wasn't seen. That night I made a decision. They would never have that power again. They didn't make me this way. I made myself this way. But they handed me the blueprint. I was 8 years old the first time I heard my dad say, "Don't worry, Ely will handle it." It was about the lawn. Nothing big. The mower was jammed and Cole had ditched halfway through. I said nothing, just walked outside and finished it. I remember sweating under that summer sun. The taste of warm metal from the old push mower, the grass sticking to my skin. Nobody thanked me. But they didn't yell either. And in our house, that was its own kind of reward. That became the pattern. Cole crashes the car. Ely figures out insurance. Dana fails the class. Ely tutors her. Dad's credit card gets declined at dinner. Eli pulls out his wallet without blinking. Mom forgets a doctor's appointment. Ely rearranges his work schedule to drive her. By the time I was 16, I wasn't a kid anymore. I was a safety net fixer, a ghost that cleaned up messes and left no trace, and it wasn't just my family. At school, I was the group project guy. You know the one. You do 100% of the work, and they all get the A at work. I was the guy who stayed late, picked up extra shifts, remembered everyone's birthday. I wore it all like armor, reliable, calm, quiet, useful. No one sees you as a person when you're useful. They see you as a tool, a resource, and when you break, they replace you. Or worse, they blame you for being faulty. Still, I didn't stop. I worked in IT, managed my money, never missed a bill, no debt, no flash, just consistency, quiet, invisible success. I bought a modest condo, nothing fancy. I drove a used Civic. I wore the same 2 jackets for 5 winters. While my brother bounced between jobs and my sister racked up credit cards, I saved. I sacrificed. Not for me, for them. Because someone had to keep the wheels turning. because someone had to care enough to pick up the pieces. And for years I thought that made me the strong one, the mature one, the good one. But here's the truth no one tells you. When you build your identity around being needed, you forget who you are when no one needs you. So when my dad said what he said on my birthday, if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would miss you, that wasn't the start of anything. It was the moment I realized the truth had been there all along. They didn't see me. Not really. They saw what I did for them. And when the doing stopped, I would too. So I stopped. The thing about disappearing is you don't do it all at once. You chip away, piece by piece, quietly, strategically. I still paid the electric bill that week, still sent my mom her usual grocery money, still covered Cole's emergency car repair when he texted, "Bro, short this month. Can you help?" No apology, no explanation, just expectation. But behind the curtain I was making moves. Simple ones at first. I created a new email, one they didn't know. I ordered a burner phone, just in case. I cleared my work desktop, exported my portfolio, started checking lease listings in towns so quiet you could hear snow fall. I'd always lived below my means. I didn't party, didn't travel. I was that guy who said, maybe next year every year. Well, next year had finally arrived. I checked my accounts. Between savings, investments, and the sale value of my condo, I was sitting on nearly 400,000, enough to start over. Not extravagantly, but freely. I didn't tell anyone at work. Just drafted my resignation, saved it as a PDF, and waited. Then came Sunday dinner. I didn't go. My phone buzzed. "Mom, missed you tonight." Cole, I didn't answer. Next week, I skipped the water bill. On purpose. The phone rang, I let it go to voicemail. "Hello, it's Dad. Water's out. You forget something." 30 seconds of silence. Then a sigh. Then, "Call me when you can." "No, please." "No, how are you?" Just control, disguised as concern. 2 days later, I submitted my resignation, immediate. I wiped my work laptop, left it on the desk, took one last look at the place I'd spent 10 years building someone else's dream, and walked out without a backward glance. I sold the condo in under a week, fast cash, no questions, closed every account tied to their bills, deleted every social media profile, erased myself. By the end of the month, I wasn't Elise Harper anymore. I was just gone. The town I moved to didn't have a single traffic light. That was part of the appeal. It sat tucked between pine-covered hills and slow, winding roads. The kind of place people drive through on the way to somewhere else. I found a small cabin just outside the town limits. Wood frame, 1 bedroom, a front porch that caught the sunrise. It was quiet in a way I had never known. No neighbors. No noise, just trees and time. I paid a year's rent up front, cash. The first week was strange. Not bad, just still. No buzzing phone. No guilt texts. No emergencies I didn't cause but had to fix. For the first time in my life, I could sit in silence and know it was safe. I hiked. I read books I forgot I owned. I cooked real meals, slow ones. Not rushed microwave dinners eaten at midnight in front of a glowing screen. And slowly, the tightness in my chest, the one I thought was just part of being alive, began to fade. Then came the knock. It was a Thursday morning. I was sipping coffee, staring out at mist rolling through the trees. Knock. 3 soft raps. Not urgent. Just unexpected. I froze. Nobody knew I was here. Not my old coworkers. Not the neighbors I never spoke to. Not even my family. I stepped to the door slow, quiet, peered through the side window. And there she was, Jenna. My cousin. I hadn't seen her in years. Her hair was longer now, streaked with gray. She wore a worn jacket and carried a small bag. Her face was tired, not from travel, but from something deeper. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from lack of sleep. She saw me through the glass and took a step back, like she wasn't sure I'd open the door. "Ali," she said softly. "I'm sorry to show up like this. I didn't know where else to go. I opened the door." Because whatever she had come to say, I already knew it wasn't nothing. She didn't come for a visit. I knew that the moment she stepped inside. Jenna hovered just past the threshold, eyes darting around like the cabin was too peaceful for what she carried in her head. "You've done well for yourself," she said quietly, like complimenting me felt intrusive. I nodded, offered her tea. She didn't touch it. We sat. The silence between us wasn't awkward. It was heavy. Like both of us knew there was a weight in the room, waiting to be dropped. Then she spoke. "They're losing everything," she said, just like that. No build-up. No warm-up. Just the hard truth laid flat on the table. "The house is in foreclosure. Utilities were shut off last week. Your dad had something, a panic attack maybe. Refused to go to the hospital. They can't afford it. Cole tried to pawn your old gaming setup." I said nothing. Not because I didn't care, but because part of me expected this, maybe even needed it. "They told everyone you had a breakdown," Jenna added. "Said you just snapped, that they're worried sick." I laughed. Bitter, hollow. Of course they were. Not about me. About what I took with me. She didn't argue. Didn't defend them. That's why I let her stay. She wasn't there to fix. She was there to deliver something. And she did. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. "It's from your mom," she said. "I'm not asking you to open it. Just thought you should have it." My hands didn't shake when I took it, but my stomach twisted. The handwriting was familiar. The same loops that once labeled lunch bags and birthday cards. But it didn't feel warm this time. It felt like a ghost. Jenna stayed the night in the guest room. She didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. In the morning, she left quietly. "Thank you," she said at the door, "for not slamming it in my face." I nodded. When she was gone, I sat with the envelope for hours. Held it, flipped it, stared at it like it might bite. When I finally opened it, the first line made my jaw clench. "We don't know what happened. 1 minute you were here, then you were gone." No mention of the birthday. No mention of what was said. Just vague guilt. Carefully worded concern. "We're scared. Your dad's not well. Cole is lost." We didn't realize how much you were holding together until it all started falling apart. "Please come home. We miss you." And then, you know how your dad is. He didn't mean it. There it was. Not an apology. Not ownership. Just deflection. Fear wrapped in nostalgia. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. Didn't tear it. Didn't burn it. Because it didn't deserve the drama. Only silence. 3 weeks of quiet passed after Jenna left. No letters. No visitors. No strange calls. But I knew it wasn't over. People like my family don't give up. Not when they feel owed. I checked my old email one afternoon. Curiosity, nothing more. The inbox had dozens of unread messages. Most were subject lines like, "Please think about the family. We're worried. Just tell us you're okay." I didn't open them. I archived them like you file away expired prescriptions, useless, once trusted things. Then came the one I couldn't ignore. Subject line, "You owe us, Elise." 4 words. Each one sharpened like a blade. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was angry, not even because I was hurt, because I was finally done. I opened it. "Hey man, I don't know what your deal is or where you ran off to, but this is getting ridiculous. Mom and Dad are barely holding on. And I'm doing everything I can to keep things together here. You were the one who kept it all running. You paid for everything. That was your role. We didn't ask you to be the responsible one. You just were. So don't get mad now. That's on you. If you think disappearing proves some kind of point, fine. You made it. Now come back and fix what you broke. It's the least you can do after everything we've done for you. We're family. That still means something, right?" I laughed. Dry. Hollow. The sound bounced off the walls of the cabin like a final answer. "No," I wanted to say. "It doesn't mean what you think it means. Not anymore." I didn't reply. Instead, I created a folder in my inbox and named it exactly what that message was: delusions. I filed it away, shut my laptop, and went for a walk. The trails behind the cabin were quiet. Just the crunch of leaves, the breath of wind through trees, birdsong far off in the hills. And in that silence, I realized something. They didn't miss me. They missed the version of me they could use. And the moment that version disappeared, so did their love. I always thought the end would come with shouting, accusations, maybe a last-ditch guilt trip from Mom. But it came with a knock, not like Jenna's. This one was sharper. 3 quick raps, efficient, practiced. I looked through the side window. A man stood on my porch, mid-40s, trimmed suit, leather folder in one hand, a business card in the other. He wasn't here for tea. I opened the door halfway. No smile. "Mr. Eli Harper?" he asked, even though he already knew. I didn't answer. "Not yet." "I represent the law firm of Keller and Tate," he continued. "I'm here on behalf of your family." He held out the folder. I didn't take it. "They've filed a claim," he said, calm as a lake, "alleging financial abandonment and unlawful withdrawal of familial support." I blinked.
"I'm sorry, what?"
"They believe they have grounds for civil damages due to a long, established pattern of financial dependency and the harm caused by your abrupt cessation of support." I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because, of course, when the pleading didn't work, they try to make it law. I took the folder, scanned the first few pages. There they were. Cole's name, my parents, statements, affidavits, claims about me being their primary provider. No mention of the birthday dinner. No mention of the years I covered bills without question. Just this idea that I had some permanent obligation stamped onto my birth certificate. The man in the suit gave me a professional nod. "You're not required to respond now, but the court date is listed inside. You'll want representation." I handed the folder back. "Tell them I'll see them in court." He paused, then turned and walked away down the gravel road, his shoes kicking up dust behind him. I stood in the doorway for a long time. The wind tugged at my sleeves. The mountains stared back in silence. So this was their endgame. Not understanding, not reconciliation. Litigation. They weren't grieving, they were cornered. And desperate people with entitlement and no shame. That's a dangerous kind of storm. I didn't panic. I didn't beg. I hired a lawyer. Her name was Ree. Sharp eyes. Sharper words. She read through the claim, closed the file, and said, "This wouldn't hold up in a reality TV court. Still, we prepared. Because people like my family don't just want to win. They want to drag you through the dirt on the way down." We built the timeline. 7 years of support. Every wire transfer. Every Venmo. Every mortgage payment I covered. Receipts. Texts. Emails. Even the birthday dinner. "You won't be proving you were generous," Ree said. "You'll be proving you were used." 2 months later, we walked into court. They were already there. My father looked thinner, but still carried himself like a man convinced of his moral authority. My mother looked worn out, but not with regret, with resentment. Cole looked smug, like he thought this was the payday he'd always waited for. The judge was older, direct, no nonsense. He skimmed the file, looked unimpressed. Ree stood. "Your Honor, the plaintiff's claim is based on the notion that emotional and familial expectations carry legal weight. They do not." She laid out the facts. Calm, precise. There was no contract, no power of attorney, no joint accounts. Just years of voluntary support that the plaintiffs took for granted, then weaponized the moment it ended. She submitted our documents. Over 100 pages, neatly indexed, numbered, inignorable. When it was my father's turn, he didn't plead. He performed. "Your Honor," he said, "this isn't just about money. It's about betrayal. My son, he abandoned us. No warning, no word. He just vanished." Ree stood again, quick and cold. And where exactly was this concern for family when Mr. Harper was told, on his birthday, that if he disappeared, no one would miss him? The Judge Ray silenced the room. He turned to my parents. "I've seen enough," he said. "This case is dismissed, with prejudice." He looked at me next. "Mr. Harper, walking away was your right. You owe these people nothing. This court is disturbed by the emotional manipulation at the heart of this claim." His gavel fell like thunder. I didn't smile. I just breathed. Outside the courtroom, they tried one last time. My mother stepped forward. Her voice cracked. "Ely, please. We didn't think it would go this far. We were scared." I looked at her. The same woman who used to tuck me in when I was sick, who watched silently while I was slowly erased from the family table. "I believe you," I said, "but being scared doesn't excuse what you did." Cole opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "Don't." Then I turned and walked away. It's been a year. Since the courtroom. Since the gavel dropped. Since I last heard any of their voices. I still live in the same cabin. Same pine trees out back. Same sunrises over the ridgeline. Same porch where I drink my coffee in the quiet. But I'm not the same. I started teaching coding part-time online. Nothing flashy. Just enough to keep me engaged. I finished writing that book I always said I would. Nothing anyone's heard of, but it's mine. I built shelves with my own hands. I fixed things that didn't need fixing, just to learn how they worked. I took long walks, not to clear my head, but because my head was already clear. I stopped jumping at every notification, stopped checking the rear view. The silence isn't empty anymore, it's mine. Sometimes I think about that night, the birthday, the cake, the laughter, the line that broke everything. If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would miss you. They were wrong. I disappeared. And I don't miss them. Not because I hate them, but because I finally see them clearly. They didn't love me. They loved what I gave them. And when the giving stopped, so did their affection. That realization didn't come all at once. It came slowly, through silence, through space, through being alone long enough to recognize peace. I used to think I had to earn love, prove my worth, show up every time no matter how invisible I felt. But now I know the truth. Love that has to be earned isn't love. It's currency. And I'm done being currency. So if anyone asks where I went, tell them I didn't vanish. I returned. To myself. Sometimes I still get the urge to check that old email. Sometimes I do. It's mostly quiet now, no new messages, no surprise letters, just digital dust and the occasional spam. But every now and then I'll reread one, not to reopen wounds, just to remind myself of where I came from. There's one I go back to more than the others. Subject you owe is Ellie. I read it slowly, line by line, because I don't owe them. Not my money, not my silence, not my life. The cabin's gotten quieter as winter rolls in. Snow falls steady. The woods are still. A friend I made in town drops by now and then, just enough to remind me I'm not invisible. We don't talk about the past. We talk about books, dogs, bad coffee, and the weather. It's enough. Sometimes I wonder if they still tell the story, the family I left behind. Do they say I snapped, that I changed, that I was ungrateful? Maybe. But I stopped trying to control the narrative. I stopped begging to be understood. Because here's what I've learned. You can give your entire life to people who will still ask for more. And when you finally walk away, they'll act like you're the one who broke something. Let them. Let them tell whatever version they need to sleep at night. You don't have to be the villain or the hero in their story. You just have to be free in your own. I am. And if that means disappearing forever from the people who once claimed to love me, so be it. Because in the silence they left behind, I found peace. I found strength. And most of all, I found me. If you've ever felt like Ely, like the one everyone leans on, until you break, know this, you are not alone. Your worth is not defined by what you give. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to heal. And if this story spoke to you, even a little, I hope you'll do one thing for me. Hit the like button. Share this story with someone who needs it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Telling Story with Me. This channel is where we tell the stories most people are too afraid to say out loud. Stories of pain, of escape, of taking back your life. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever been the one who disappeared? I read every word, and maybe your story is the next one I'll tell. Until then, take care of your heart, and remember silence isn't the end. Sometimes it's the beginning.